Okay, live. One of those almost impromptu episodes. Well, it's kind of happening earlier than usually. I post a video later at night or on a Sunday, but we had a couple little snafus and things and change of plans. Here we are. So I have some hat viewership. Not as much as boots, and a lot of you haven't watched my boot videos yet. Okay, so this is not the brand of hat that we're discussing, but I am comparing them. So this will be in 2 parts overall. So I have several hats. I've done video about this a long time ago already that I had done a winter version and then kind of a spring version. So this, I guess, is a little bit of both because technically it's still winter, but spring is ostensibly, here 2 weeks away, around the corner. So you're not really planning your winter wardrobe. Most of you have already, started a warming trend. Here included, and excuse me, and all that. Okay, so part 1, I guess we'll do the winter hats first. The winter, so this would not technically be a winter hat. The wider brim for more sun protection, the lighter color for, more sun reflection, that type of thing. So then more recently, I had also, I thought, done a review of the Filson hat, which I did not end up wearing this year. We did have some cooler weather when I might have worn it, but I wanted ear flaps more often. So I had been wearing that Stormy Cromer hat where the ear flaps were not as thick or sturdy as I would prefer. And so I kind of retired that one for this other, I think it's Dorfman Pacific. I think same company as does Scala. Not positive, but I think they're both brothers or sisters or connected somehow. So rewind slightly, because this will become relevant later. As I had said in a couple of the videos, at least one, I'm sure, I had showed off this hat, which is a Borges and Scott. And I had gotten this several years ago, but on the site, I think it was Amazon, not eBay, but don't quote me on that. They had it listed as like a 7 1/4 or something, and when it came as just large. So I think you can see that tag. So when I went to order this time, now they had refunded me this and let me keep the hat that is too big. And should I show it? I guess again. Yeah, so too big. If I put on a bandana under of this, I can kind of cinch it up and maybe wear it in the autumn, but I have so many other hats that I maybe did that once. So then last year or earlier this year, whenever the tariff scare was, I did video about this hat already, I thought. The Akubra territory. Now, some of them are supposed to be unlined. This one does have the lining. But this one is a 58, which I would consider too big. But I already have the 57, and it kind of pinches my head, and it was a little too tight. So I went with the 58, and I kind of regret it because for wearing it on camera inside, it seems perfect. It's exactly where it should go. But in terms of wearing it outdoors and out and about and any breeze comes along, it's too big. Okay. I can't figure it out because it pinches, here. Now I had some cowboy hats where I had kind of squeezed the side and then made it perfect. I don't think I could do that with this because then I think it would be too big. So again, my sizing, as far as I know, is 7 1/8 or 57. Okay, so use that as the starting point. So again, large would be about a 7 1/2. That's typically too big unless the hat has somehow shrunk. But again, other companies like this Scala one come in, if you can see it, medium, right? So I was trying to find medium on Amazon and using their sizing chart to get this hat in my size in a different color. Now it's listed currently at $96. But again, we're going to come back to that. This is not the hat we're discussing till part 2. Okay. And this, however, in the meantime, is a medium that I've had for a billion years that I bought at the Army Navy store. And fits like perfect, right? Or close to perfect. In fact, the one that I got more recently that I was wearing when I bought my shirt is a Duluth one, also listed as, I'm going to go with medium. Yeah, medium. I don't know if you can read it because it's tiny, but it's in there right at the top, medium. Do your best. Anyway, so this hat fits just like a hat's supposed to. Okay. So I have hats in medium that are the right size. Okay. We've established that and have them in different colors. But as you can see, these do not have as wide of a brim now as this or anywhere near this. Now, again, in the winter hat category, based on that, this heavy duty, oh, sorry, this is a different one. Wrong one. This is not the Filson one. This is just a different hat that I showed in the safari video. Okay, that we don't want to talk about that hat at all. The other one. Don't tell me it's not in here. Oh no, it's here. Sorry. No problem. Okay, we don't need this one. We need this one. So this bad boy is very heavy duty wool felt with the ventilation holes and the this and that, and Filson garment, blah blah blah. I'm trying to read here. It says I need a magnifying glass to read this tag. Yeah, I really can't read this at all. Okay. The printing is tiny. Anyway, 100% wool and whatever else it says. But here on this tag, you can see the M. If it'll stop being blurry, I don't know. Maybe it'll focus on the tag if I don't show my face. Okay, yeah, there, M. Anyway, so this is what Filson calls a medium. And it is too small. It is tight. I assume that since it doesn't have a leather band, that I might be able to wear it comfortably-ish once it get used to it. But it's really on the verge of being a tiny bit too small. So I don't know how comfortable this hat will ever be. But it, like I said, it doesn't have a leather band, so hopefully it will conform if I get around to wearing it next year. This year I kind of switched to cowboy hats last month and haven't really looked back because it's been warm. But you can see how thick the brim is. It's not as wide of a brim as even a standard fedora. I just put it on top. And you can kind of tell it's pretty close to almost. It's pretty close to almost the same width. Just maybe a smidge stingier. So you know, technically still a fedora and not a pork pie or whatever. Right. Everything wants to not cooperate. Okay. So anyway, so this is kind of what I'm comparing the alpaca hat too. And so you'll get a sense of the texture and such. But when I went to order it this time, this was a slightly more expensive model than the brown one. That's the Premium Lewis. This is the Premium Alpaca Lewis, listed again as a winter hat. So it's a different texture, a bit more rough. They did have this in a couple different colors and this in a couple different colors. I didn't order brown. This time I ordered green, even though in this light you can't tell because the light's screwing up the brown and making it look green. But it is, yeah, there you go. You can see this is a darker brown and this is a moss green, called moss green. Okay. But, and I messed up the bow already. But this time it doesn't say medium. I don't know if you can read any of that. Probably not. But it says size 7 USA and 56 centimeters small. So I was not trying to buy small per se. I was trying to buy medium, but they had both small and medium basically listed as the same measurements somehow, both 56. So there was a 7 to 7 1/8 option, also listed as 56, I think. I don't know. I ordered a second one and I put it for today delivery and it didn't show up. So I don't know what the next size up is going to fit like. But this one fits better than the Filson one, but still too small. So it's just on the verge of too small, which is why I ordered the other one so I could return this one, but I'm doing the video anyway just to do it. So you can see I could pull it down and it would be okay, but it's a little tight, so it wouldn't be super comfortable. But it has the exact same leather band style as the other Lewis. So, and the same crown style, teardrop, pinch front, the same basic brim shape and size. Again, there's the big difference is this one is a thicker wool, supposedly. It can feel a little bit thicker, yeah. And obviously this more furry texture again, definitely more. So I don't know if it costs more just because it's a little thicker. You would think that the alpaca being, supposedly this wonder fat fiber or whatever, that the hat might actually be less expensive, but it's not. But since I already have, like I said, a winter hat that's similar but not the same, whatever Filson makes them out of, that's pretty thick and also too small, but also cost a fortune. Obviously, I'm stuck with this one, so I'm returning this one probably. Whatever the other one fits like might be irrelevant. Don't know. We'll see. I'll at least be able to compare them and put it in the comments or the description, Monday or Tuesday or whatever, if it actually shows up in due course. And of course, I paid for the extra. I never do this. I always get the free shipping, but the free shipping schedule was to get here on Wednesday, and I didn't want to wait that long because I already knew I wanted to compare the sizing to this one, even if I wasn't going to do a video right away. But since it didn't show up after I paid the extra money, I'm doing the video now just because I'm annoyed. And I like doing videos when I'm annoyed because it reminds me how much, I don't know if it's Amazon is the problem, but these people are the ones who made the Amazon size list chart that doesn't make any sense because two sizes are not one size. And I guess, like I said, they used to come in large, medium, and small, which would make it easier for me to just order medium. But now medium is non-existent, and they have two different sizes that are both small, I guess, because the other one I said that I ordered, I think, is a 58, which will be too big, same as that other one that may show up on Monday. I don't know. So that's where we are with the alpaca hat. Like I said, I'm not, you know, the quality of it is probably fine. Is it overpriced? Maybe. You can decide that. Crushable, made to withstand being rolled, crushed, or packed, sorry. For best results, crush side to side. So they want you to do, some guy showed where you push up the crown and then smash it first, getting the crown shape. I don't know. I don't typically have a ton of luck with crushing them, but I do suggest more of this brim style than the flat brim style if you're having any wind at all, because this will just blow away immediately. They do sell chin straps separately for those. These, of course, don't come with any kind of chin strap, but you can take a scarf or a necktie or something and cinch it down on your head and, you know, tie it. And it won't look attractive, but it'll block some wind on your ears. Alpaca Lewis, that's all it says. Doesn't say anything about premium here, but it says premium on the Amazon site. So I guess they call them all premium just to make it sound better. But again, size 56, which is definitely not the hat size that I wear, but is the size that I got by default. Maybe twice. All BORGES and Scott felt hats are treated to be water and stain resistant. Spot clean with a damp cloth. Do not dry clean. Full care instructions on the website, which I didn't go to the website. I went to Amazon, which was probably my first mistake. I don't know, but seemed easy enough because this one was in San Diego and came right away, sooner than I expected it, actually. Whereas the other one that was supposed to get here today didn't show up, so maybe it's in New Jersey or someplace. I have no idea. I messed up the bow on this one, trying it on, and the bow came untied. The other one, somebody tried it on before me, and the bow was already messed up. So how you get the bow to look cute and original look that it has when they first supposed to come, I don't know. I'm not that talented at tying little bows. But as you can see, it has a cloth sweatband and a tag and a bow and no lining, just the fur. No ventilation, though, again, which you're really going to want in the warmer months that this doesn't have. Even the Filson one has it for the cooler months. And again, this is a pretty thick fur, but I don't know what's the difference between this fur and this fur at all. I'm calling it fur, but it's, you know, felted, yada, yada, yada. So that's this hat that I probably won't keep. Okay. So then, like I said, check in a couple days and maybe I'll have an update. Oh, sorry. Not part one. Part two. End part one, begin part two. Right. Okay. So part two, like I said, what I found the next day after I already got that one for $10 cheaper is the same thing as the brown one, but not brown. Okay, so I'll show them side by side again. And hopefully you'll be able to see one is green and one is brown. Now, this isn't the exact shade of green it looks on the web page, but now that you're seeing it through this crappy artificial light through my mediocre camera, it looks pretty close to the color. It looks slightly darker in person, so not quite as brilliant of a green as maybe I was thinking, although if we compare, it's not as dark as, you know, this one. And it's certainly not as dark as spoiler alert, it kind of fits. We'll get again, the size is the exact same, 756, even though it said medium or something on the whatever I ordered. I ordered 7 to 7 1/8 maybe. And this is called olive instead of moss. And so there was a 7.5 option that goes to size 60, and a 7 1/4 to 7 3/8 option that they call medium, 58 to 59. So medium is that's just wrong. Whereas this is small medium, which should be wrong. But again, they're calling this USA 7, which is technically not my size again. But this one fits better than that other one. For whatever reason, even though it's technically the same size as the alpaca one, this one actually fits. So score, hooray, I'm done. 97 bucks plus the extra for the shipping. Looks like it's the hat that I want, right? Good enough. But again, a slightly different color than the Scala one. The brim slightly larger. That was the appeal, part of the appeal. And the color. This one, people think it's an Indiana Jones hat because it's almost brown. But of course, if I hold it next to the brown one, you will see immediately that it's not actually brown. It's green. Well, you won't see it immediately on this camera with this crappy lighting, maybe, but in person, you would be able to see how much more of this is actually green, but slightly different hat band. And you can see the brim is shaped differently and a little bit smaller enough. Whereas this brim, the BORGES brim, is not quite as big as the Territory brim, but pretty close because I think they rolled the edge instead of leaving it flat. So they, when they cut it, it was probably the exact same amount of millimeters until they folded it and hemmed it. Because again, it's not stiff. So we had probably an exact same or very similar starting point and then trimmed it down ever so slightly. And again, this being the large, I don't know if the large brims are slightly bigger than the medium brims or how it affects it when they size it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not an expert on custom hats. But anyway, so like I said, this green is technically darker than this brown. It's just got a little more green in it that you just really can't see in this horrible lighting. Okay. So this one, yeah, but is darker than this one. So you can see that the brown is darker than the olive, but whatever this Loden or whatever you want to call it is, whereas this one is bright green and has some vent holes, but also the same crown size as the Scala, just about. And again, the Indiana Jones shape-ish to the overall size and crease and all that ish, all ish. You can see this one has a different teardrop to this, which is a little more similar to this. And I did a long video and then a second long video, both about safari outfits, one being more spring oriented when you are wearing this kind of green, Ghost in the Darkness, and those kind of movies. This not quite being that hat, because again, he's wearing more of this style of a felt, a little more refined style. I do have the Akubra in the other color that's a lot more closer than this. This, again, for me being a winter hat, no matter how much they call the alpaca one a winter hat, because it's already almost too warm for me to wear these felt hats. This one I might be able to get away with a little bit longer because, again, maybe a little bit thinner of a felt, a more reflective color, has the big vents, whereas this has no vents again. So I'm running out of daylight to actually wear this now that I got it. But again, I wanted the wider brim that I didn't have the other day, that I wished I had the other day, because again, I couldn't wear this because I knew the wind would take it right away. So I really wanted a hat like this with a wider brim that came a day too late or whatever, as story of my life. But so it's not quite an indie hat. It's a little bit, you can see it's a little bit wider, not quite as that. But the fit size is actually pretty good. Again, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close to where I don't think I need to order 3 more and hope for the best. I think this is the best that I'm going to be able to hope for. Excuse me. So again, how does it slightly differ from the other one? Again, somebody else messed up the bow knot. What does it say on the side here? 100% wool felt, water repellent. And then the tag, there's a slight tag than the other tag. This tag is the same one I read already on the Alpaca. And you can see it says 56. Again, when I wasn't trying to order 56, I was trying to order 57. This hat can be made smaller. Oh, just what I needed. Gently pull the 2 small ribbons in the sweatband until the hat fits snugly. Once the desired fit is achieved, tie the ribbons in a bow to secure. Okay, so obviously somebody tried to make it smaller and was unhappy with that for some reason and returned it. Diesner Hut kann kleiner. I don't speak German, but okay, it's just the same stuff in German. Then, Sasha Po. Okay, so then the same stuff in French. And the same stuff in, looks like Italian and Spanish. Okay, so that's all. So the same stuff in Italian, Spanish, French, and German. Right. So that's how you can make this hat smaller. It doesn't say anything about that on the Alpaca one. I guess you could try it if you don't mind messing up your ribbon. So yeah, I'm not really trying to make this hat smaller. Again, I hope this hat stretches a little bit with wear. Not too much, but just enough where it's slightly more comfortable like the Duluth one. This one's a little shallow. I bought this a long time ago when I wasn't really concerned about hat sizing. And it didn't get worn as much as it should have. But again, medium and almost brown. So this was my indie hat when I, wasn't on the market for a true indie hat per se, so much as just indie enough that I could use it for daily use or Halloween, that type of thing. So yeah, this is my standard winter to spring fedora before I got this one, which I got this one because it was brighter green, more like the leprechaun hat, right? And then that other one that I put, wherever I put it, same thing. Same thing, except this one just has a stingier brim, but this is not a brand that is still around, so it doesn't really matter. And I don't remember what I paid for it, but it was called a safari hat at the time, and I was like, a safari hat? That brim is nowhere near wide enough for a real safari hat, but I like the look of it anyway. But again, I prefer Indie has a stiff brim though, not the rolled edge of this kind of thing. There's no stitching and all that. Yeah, this is another crushable. And the crown shape is not the same height and the same pinch and all that. But most people on the street will look at this and say, oh, an indie hat, which is, again, why I get them in slightly different colors so that people don't automatically say that. But I don't think too many people will call this an indie hat, but some still will. But because, again, this is not the same style crown per se, not the same style brim per se, but when you don't encounter many people wearing a fedora on the streets in the burbs or wherever, I guess any hat is an indie hat, right? So I guess that's about all I have to say. I went on a little bit longer than I probably needed to, but if I forgot some dimension or aspect or whatever that you hope I would have mentioned and I didn't think about it, you can go ahead and leave a question in the comments. Of course, I welcome legitimate questions. That's the whole point of doing these videos, but I don't get too many. I usually get like nice hat or something, but that's, you know, to be expected, I guess, too, if, you know, if I covered everything you wanted to know. Try and think of something if you have to, right? I guess, I don't know. Like it's kind of a fake unboxing because, you know, I had to try the other one on after I got the first one. Because again, I wasn't going to rush to do the video, and then after I tried on the first one, then it was kind of like, well, I don't want to be flying blind doing the video. But you know, it's basically a true unboxing, almost, except I already cut the tape. All right, so there was nothing else in the boxes except for a little packing paper, and you know, no hidden surprises, nothing too elaborate. Like I said, a little bit of packing foam and a little bit of that was it. That was all that was in the boxes. And oh, that was the other annoying thing with the wider brim. The first one, these boxes are actually the wrong width. They mess up the brim a little bit. But since they're meant to be packable mush hats, I guess Amazon doesn't care, or the company doesn't care. This is a British company, so they've sent a bunch of them to America for, you know, to make it easier for us to order. So that's all fine and good, except whoever's, like I said, in charge of their account just does not understand sizing or something, or doesn't care. So I'm gonna get in touch with them on Monday, maybe, when I have to apply for return labels, and I'll see if they say anything pertinent or useful. But don't hold your breath. And it's too warm to wear felt hats in the house right now too, also. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna shut up now and go comb my hair.